Wonderful. YouTube is working now. Hello. So the topic today is, what is the topic? Exactly. Lower. Own that you're superior? Yuck. So that's the topic. Own that you're superior? Yuck. So a piece of content went up yesterday that talked about melanin dominant women's reasons for rejecting, and this is not all melanin dominant women. As I hate saying it repeatedly. There's a whole other language. Anyway, so I'm out here in the public with everyday normal people. Anyway, so the content talked about the rejecting of your superiority. Those of us who are of the essence. If you have to question it, go somewhere else. I'm not. So, the reasons why we reject our superiority. I'd like to talk about the reasons why we reject our superiority and what's required to begin to own who we really are, etc., etc. So, hello, my name is Naima. If you're new here, I'm the founder of the Academy for Womanhood, where we help women grow up and become unapologetic women who design their lives on their terms. We are stewards of humanity over here. We are the ones who have been quiet and repressed for a long, long, long time. And we are part of the pioneering ones who are shifting the consciousness of humanity. That's who we are over here. We are developing our insides so that we can come do work on the outside. We are developing our insides so we can come do work on the outside. The world is saturated in lies. The world is saturated in lies. The way we look, what we see as normal among humans, just normal. This is the way it goes. This is what so many even of the particularly spiritual Black men are calling natural order, are calling divine order. Here's the thing. You don't have to force divine order. You don't have to force, you don't have to coerce divine order. You don't have to put social pressure for divine order. You don't have to shame and guilt divine order. Real order is sort of like any major city, right? It's been manipulated to look the way it looks. Groomers come in and they groom the greenery. Architects and builders come in and they build up buildings to make the city look the way they want the city to look. Okay? Now, if the spiritual stewards of humanity were the ones governing Earth, we wouldn't have the problems that we're having today. The spiritual stewards who are here for heaven on earth. Gosh, I feel like there's a whole new education that needs to be created for what exactly is heaven on earth. It starts with the being. It starts with the being. A young lady came on we had a private session this past Sunday, and she made mention of how humans, she talked about this from a collective level, humans are outward. They're projecting themselves onto other people. They're looking outwards. They're blaming outwards. They're ignoring what's going on here and pushing it all outwards, looking at what's going on out there. They need to be doing this. They need to heal. They need to get it together. They need to change the laws. They need to grow up. They need to quit talking shit. Everybody is out. And how everybody needs to come here to themselves. What are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you projecting? What's your dominant thoughts? What's your deep thoughts? What's within your unconscious mind that has you emanating the way you emanate, living the way you live, spending your money the way you spend, going to sleep and waking up the way you go to sleep and wake up, raising your kids the way you raise your kids, eating the way you eat, choosing the way you choose. What are you doing? Versus, because they need it. So, you can't even talk to me about heaven on earth when you ain't even here. What's going on? What's going on here? What are you genuinely called to do? Not what you've been programmed to do. Not what you think is going to bring you the most comfort. What are you really called to do? Are you genuinely called to be a mother? I mean, the kind of mother that gives birth to children. Are you really called to do that? Or do you feel like, man, if I don't do that, I'm going to be missing out? Do you feel called to live in the city where you currently live? Or do you just live there because you've been there for so long? Is your body the actual body that it would be if you weren't overeating because of trauma or undereating because of trauma? Is this your actual body the way it would be? The people who are in your life or not in your life right now, are they in your life or not in your life from your conscious choice? And saying, I choose to have these people in my life, or I don't choose to have these people in my life? The way you make money right now, however you make that money right now, is that from your true desire? Is that a conscious effort? Is that how you were called to go? You see the kind of deliberate, intentional life that I'm talking about here? When you're living like that, you're not out here talking about what they need to do, what she need to do. I don't like what the government. So when I'm talking about, oh, yes. And when you are living like this, which is highly personal, when you're living like this, that's highly personal. You can better identify your place. You can identify your place. See, when you don't know where you belong and who you are, and you got all this shadow stuff that's making you move and live and think the way you move and live and think, with all these ideas about who you are and what's good and bad and right and wrong, and you're in rejection of large parts of yourself and all this unconscious behavior, somebody can come along and say something and you get knocked around by it. You get inflamed because you see that TikTok he did, and then you want to go, you get mad because who she thinks she is and who this and who, because you don't know who you are. When you know who you are, then you can better, when somebody comes into your circumference, you know your place in that. You're not so bothered by other people's position. Why am I saying this? In relation to today's topic of own that you're superior, yuck. There's two angles which I'd like to talk about this. One, when you actually come home to you and get personal, you actually start to see, wow, who you are. Wow. Wow. Who I actually am. When you start looking at why you live where you live, why you eat what you eat, why these people are or are not in your life, why your life even looks the way it looks. Is this something that you always wanted to do because you saw your family do it? So is that your genuine desire? If it's something that you just wanted to do because that's what you're familiar with, that's what you saw your parents do? The people, wow. So that's one angle. Wow, who I am. The other angle of that is when other people demonstrate who they are, or you see who somebody is, you know how to place them in your life. You know how to place them in your life or leave them where they are. So let's talk about responsibility. It's very common to not to think that you don't want the responsibility of full power. That's very common. I felt the same way. The responsibility of full power. What does it even look like? What do you imagine it looks like? First of all, what do you imagine full power looks like? And what do you see as what are you then responsible for as a full power person? So let's start with that. What does it look like in your life? What does it feel like in you to be in full power? One, you're willing to fully interact with life versus, well, I don't know if they, well, I don't know. You're willing to be clear about what it is that you're called to do. You're willing to take action on it. Eventually, right? Eventually. I realized just in the last 2 weeks, and it's been hovering all along, I just didn't respond to it. For years, let's say 5 years, since 2019, I've been aggressively like, where are the Black women? Different, varying degrees of aggression. Like, first it was like in 2015, it was like, where are we? Just like a thought. Well, I thought it even before that, but it started to come into my mind even more like, where are we? Where are the Black women that are dealing in real power? Because I could see women who were just like business coaches, like the basic stuff that we all see. I could see all that, but I didn't see any Black women who were dealing in like real taboo, real power, real, elevated, true sovereign states. Like, I wasn't seeing that. And I was like, just quietly to myself. And then more and more, as I started to grow in business success, oh, where are we? Because realizing that is that way at all levels. It's that way at low income levels, middle class levels, and high income levels. It's that way at dealing in power. Okay, it's that way at all levels. And then in 2019, when I was faced with no longer running from myself, can y'all hear me okay? Let me bring the mic. Maybe that's better. When I I'd collapsed. I collapsed in the south of France. I've been running from my power, running, drinking, hyper busy, just and I'd gone jogging and I collapsed and I couldn't take care of myself. And I knew I was running, like nobody else knew, but I knew. Just like you all, who you know, even if you look successful and productive and busy to everybody else, you know you hide. Thank you for all those hearts. Is that Freddie? Thank you. You know you hide. You know you playing small. You know, and you're quietly suffering. I have broken out all on my right here, just bumps and just sickly, all sickly right here. And finally, I remember I couldn't get out the bed and I needed food. And at the time, I didn't even think of, what do you call that, DoorDash or like Uber Eats? Because maybe I could have did that. But anyway, I remember dragging myself, like this shit was like out of a movie, like dragging myself to a store nearby to get something. And I remember when I was walking back home halfway, I threw up because I was struggling to walk. Yeah. And I didn't leave the house. The next time I left that house, I was on my way to the airport to come back to the United States, running from my power. See, this is what I mean. This is where we start separating regular women from the ones who they literally start dying when they don't do what they came here for. We don't have to, there's no argument. There's no debate, bitch. It shows in what happens in your body, what happens in your actual life. Regular bitches can go hide behind a man for their whole life. Their whole life. And then the ones who are like me who try to do it, they just be sick with him. They just end up sick with him. Don't know. And she'll know why unless she deeply, deeply repressed. She will lie and hide. Lie and hide. And he'll support it. My queen, he'll support it. He'll support her hiding. Oh, I'm protecting her. Because this is my queen. Yeah, okay. She knows, even if she don't say it out loud, she knows. I was on a plane on my way back to the United States. I had to go to the emergency room. It's a whole situation. When I finally went home, and you come home from the emergency room, from the hospital, and it's just the reality of what the fuck is going on. And you know what's going on. I was anemic. I had lost a bunch of blood. You don't fake this, is it? And it was like, Naima, here it is. What you gonna do? Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. So I remember when I was in this place, the question got louder. Where the fuck are the Black women? Because what I really wanted was myself. That's what I really wanted. I really wanted the very power that I was looking for outside of myself. I really wanted the power that I was looking for outside of myself. Where are they? Where are they? I remember in 2017 specifically wanting a powerful Black woman mentor. Powerful. I wanted someone who was sexually empowered, somebody who was sovereign, somebody who was of high character, who was highly intelligent. And I don't mean like book smart, like PhD. I mean a woman who had lived through all of the ego deaths and the humiliating experiences that would splay her open to be receptive and open to the fullness of life and power. You can't buy that. You can't fake that. You can't study up under a master teacher to do that. You can't meditate and read books to do that. You can't go dance in Ghana to find your way to that. You can't marry your way into that. You can't give birth to children to get that. There's nothing that anybody can do or say to get that to you. That is something that you earn and develop through the work of cultivating your full power. Interacting with life, being humiliated, ego deaths, deconstructing all the identities that you create up to give yourself the title of mother, woman, wife, CEO, healer, teacher, leader, goddess, God, Orisha. All the ideas we got about who we are and what our power is and where we come from and who our ancestors are. To this day, this shit is fucking mind-blowing on a level. I was looking for that in 2017. 2019, I'm like, where is she? Fresh out the hospital. What? I came back out, started creating content again, gathering us in different ways. Every time I would even touch on power a little bit, Black women was running. All of the Black women who were public facing and were in leadership roles, they were all disconnected from their bodies. None of them was talking about sexual power. None of them was sovereign. They knew how to put together a damn business system and make that money. They got the bag all over the place. That's the easy part. Business systems, structures in place to get a business going, yeah. But sovereignty, actual power, without all this ego display and force and exhaustion, none of that by a Black woman who's public facing. And that's what I was looking for. That was pure. Y'all see who I am? What you feel for me, what you see, what you get. Do you see this out here anywhere? Do you? And this is online. Y'all ain't even came into my actual physical circumference. That's a whole other relationship. You mean to tell me that was 2017 and here we are, what, 8 years later? Or 7 years later, still? See, this is what I mean by you waiting for somebody else to do it and it's your job to do it. And see, you keep thinking that it's not meant to be done because you're looking for it to be done outside of you, but you are the one to do it. You just haven't wanted the responsibility of doing it. Yes or no? You haven't wanted the judgment. You haven't wanted the isolation. You haven't wanted the attack. You haven't wanted the being misunderstood. You haven't wanted the struggle. Yes or no? You haven't wanted the fact that most men ain't gonna want to be bothered with you when you start coming into sovereign power. You don't want that part. There's so much. Yes or no? So, beating my head, beating my head, beating my head, beating my head, beating my head. You was talking to yourself about what this morning, DC? Beating my head. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Meanwhile, I'm constantly doing my work. Constantly doing my work. Constantly doing my work. And in that doing of my work and interacting with melanin dominant women at different degrees in different ways, realizing, wow, many things. How rare it is still today for a melanin dominant woman to come into her full power. How rare it is. How much, and there's different angles to look at this, so how do I want to say this? how absolutely essential community is. Essential. How important it is for us to start teaching the girls young. That's very important. I'll just leave it there for now. Now, community and getting to the girls young. So first of all, myself included, was very isolated for a long time because nobody could see me. And the ones who could get a glimpse, there was an inability to really be with me. And because here's the thing, for you to come into your power, anybody who's watching this, even the replay viewers, okay, for you to really come into your power, there's relationships that you're in to help you do that, okay? You don't do it like off in a corner by yourself, reading books and doing it. You do it in relationships to where you get to be reflected back to on a regular basis by people who actually want to see you powerful. And that's why so many women, you can't do it with a man because your man wants you to stay there. So unconsciously, unless you got you a rare man, and most women don't have a rare man, they want you to stay with them. So everything that they're counseling, and they're a man, so they don't understand the feminine perspective. They understand it conceptually, but because they're a man, they don't really understand it, okay? So oftentimes he'll be guiding you in ways that instill doubt, that have you stay outside of yourself, that have you lean toward a masculine way. Not saying he won't have wisdom, insights, etc., but he's a man and he wants you to be with him. Because most men don't really have true love for their woman. They have transactional love with her, okay? Like, I do this, you do that, these are our roles. Because true love, you recognize that may mean she's not with you, you're not with her. And most men don't mean that kind of love with their woman, okay? So when you're isolated or you're in a relationship with a man where there's transactional love, so you have no community, full power is foreign to most women, never mind most Black women. Real power. I'm not talking about Michelle Obama power. I'm not talking about, this kind of power we see on YouTube videos about what the feminine does to inspire the masculine is If your goal is to just get a provider, a man who pays the bills so you can do your la-di-da, that's not what this is for. You can, Shira 7 can help you do that, and there's plenty of women all over the internet who can counsel you on how to secure a provider man and the role to play and the things to say and how to do all that. So if that's what you're looking for, that's not what this is. Over here, this is about full power. This is about sovereignty, particularly for melanin dominant women who, again, get sick and must do what they came here to do, or else they deteriorate, okay? So you have no community, you're with this man who, you're in a transactional relationship. And so when that is your state, that's how you live, or you're young, right? Right? And you're around people who just see you as a young person who, right, you don't know much, or go live, girl. It's very easy for you to stay there and to make small decisions based on being misunderstood. People can't see you. They don't understand power. They want you to stay with them. That might even be a sister who wants you to stay with them. Your mom, other people around who want you to stay in relationship with them. And any behaviors that you start to display that look like you're changing, that look like you're moving away from them, this is a problem. And a lot of this is unconscious. People don't even realize they're doing this stuff. So anyway, so this is one of the reasons why my community exists. There's so many different directions I can go here. Hold on. Because I want to get to the whole, I'm like, how does this relate to the superior part? And I want to bring it. When you are what I just described, isolated with these people, etc., but you're having all of these impulses about yourself that are superior, that are all-knowing, that are connected in these reverent ways that it's almost like you, throughout your entire day, you're living in dual realities, or even more than dual realities, right? You're living down here on earth to do all the mundane things you're doing, right? Maybe you're in college, right? So you're going to class, you're doing all the things in that world, right? Simple, basic stuff. Maybe you're a mom, so you're cooking, you're doing things with the kids, right? So you're living down here, doing all your mundane stuff, right? But then all throughout your day, there's the you that pops out that's like, there's something else for you to be doing, and it talks to you throughout your day, but you're very much occupied with life down here. Yes? Who relates to this part? Yeah? You're not going to relate to everything I say here, and that's okay. Some pieces you will, some pieces you won't. Because there's a place where we share experiences and then we start to delineate. That's a whole other conversation. So this part of you is constantly calling, but what's happening is there's nobody around you who's talking about this and who has the skill and experience with traversing to the other sides. You're around sister, mother, husband, whoever, right? So all of your decisions typically are going to exist in a very like mundane 3D kind of way. And then you get older and older and older, and then depending on who you are, action will be taken. Okay? And so if you are the woman who particularly is drawn to my community, oh, he should be here. Hold on one second. Hold on. Yeah.
Buonasera Naima,
CZ. So come to the door. I expect to hear you at the door. Oh. Chiaretti. Nombre es Chiaretti. Capisce? Chiaretti. Sì, grazie. Okay, that's my groceries. Hold on. Grazie. Pardon me. What's true, Natasha? Hi, Natasha. So let's connect this to responsibility. I just opened the door for him to put the groceries through the door. Yeah. You can put it there. You can leave it there. Yes. Yes, sì. Grazie. So who here has avoided the responsibility of their power? Who here has avoided the responsibility, the leadership, what's going to be required of you? Who has avoided this? Hi, Carrie. Okay, I see some me's, yeses. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the responsibility. And I'll talk about it through a personal lens. And then if you have questions about this, just bring them forward. So here are some of the ones that I've heard and that have been my personal experience. One is, will I be able to handle it? Will I be able to handle it? Will I be able to handle my full power? Will I be able to handle it? What are people going to think of me? Like everybody who's in my life now, and then even people I haven't met yet. What are people going to think of me? Am I going to look mean? Am I going to cause harm? Am I going to be, somebody put up earlier today something about bodacious or braggadocious, or like feel like they're going to be too much or too big, become full of themselves. Any of these. So you are a rejection of your power. That's why you dislike it. It's not integrated yet. So that means you probably do very, depending on your style and personality, you do things to exaggerate it. It might not be blatant and out there, but it's very much things that you do because it's not integrated. That's why you dislike it. And it's a common thing. Maybe not dislike, but just disowning one's power. Okay, which disliking it is one way to disown it. There's many ways that women disown their power. So, and then it's like, what is it going to take? That's another one. How do I maintain it? What is it going to take? Who's going to be there for me? Like when I fall, like when I'm, whatever I may feel, who's going to be there for me? Who's going to catch me? Who's going to, right? That's some of it. So look, that's enough for starters, right? Brittany said, I haven't liked how other people have felt when I've been in my power. Karen said, that's a good one. Yep. Reacted to me being in my power. Yeah, same. Yeah. So that's a good one. I haven't liked how other people have felt when I've been in my power. Okay. So Brittany, are you white? Uh, was it earlier today? Yes, earlier today I talked about being a highly sensitive individual. I'm really talking to a niche person here. I'm really talking to a niche person here. I know I can't control who comes in here, but I'm really talking to a niche woman. Man, am I going to write a book? Am I going to write a book to bring this all together? Because it's like if you didn't hear that and you didn't hear this, you're missing, you're not And so and that's the thing about when melanin dominant women come into their power. Specifically, when melanin dominant women come into their power, there's a trickle down effect that everybody wins. Man, even the most powerful among us. Okay, so let me go because I want to address what Karen asked about how can I maintain it, And then the piece about I haven't liked how other people felt when I was in my power. And then what was the other one? Someone said something else I saw. Can I handle it? Yeah. So earlier I went live and I talked about being highly sensitive. So the woman, if it benefits you, it benefits you. But the woman who I'm talking to, she's highly sensitive. This is part of your power. She's highly sensitive, deep feeling. She's also the delineation that I talked about, right? She gets sick. She deteriorates when she doesn't do what she came here to do. She loses her satiation for life. She finds herself in depressive states that she can't seem to get out of. And even if she does, it's just a temporary state, right? Versus all the others. And I really mean it in that way. Okay? It's not to be dismissive. It's just the truth of things. And it's in your lived experience. It's not something you make up or fake or try to be. Okay. So there's that dynamic. This woman is called to do specific work in the world. Okay. Etc. Now, part of what powers her being able to move forward in this way, part of her, because it's so difficult. Part of what powers, well, first of all, the community is needed, like I said. This is why my woman community exists. But part of what powers her is because she already has tried 122,000 other doors, avoiding the power. She already has tried, like, haven't you? Because some of you have not tried all the doors yet, and you will spend your life trying other doors to avoid your power. Do you know what I mean when I say that? What do I mean when I say that? What do I mean? Exactly. Running. You're going to try a bunch of doors. And there's plenty of women who are going to spend their life looking for another door, another way out, another way to not have to be in their power, so they're just going to spin. They're just going to spin. They're going to go get married. Then they're going to divorce and get married again. Or maybe they'll stay with that guy, right? And then they'll just go through all kind of whirlwinds with that guy, okay? They'll go have kids, maybe another kid, now several kids, right? They'll go start off on different career paths, and maybe none of them will take off, but they'll do different things, right? They'll do this for a year or 2 or 3, and they'll do this for 6 months, and then they'll do this. They'll, maybe you go live in another city or another country, right? Because that is fresh and exciting. Maybe I can give my energy, and that is exciting, right? So you go do that for a little while, but the you who you keep trying to push down, because it's who you are, it keeps, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you marry, no matter how many kids you have, no matter where you move to, no matter, okay? So, and you'll be sick. And a master will be able to see you, though. In the event that you meet a master will be able to see you. And then so here's the thing with melanin dominant women. Because we're in isolation and we're not talking, for those of you who've been here, and I talked earlier about the isolation. When I say isolation, you could be living alone. You could be married, but your husband doesn't know you. Like, you don't show yourself to him. You play the performative role to keep the peace in the house. Okay? That was me. Literally was me. Everything I said. Hi, Lynette. Hi, Vanessa. Right? So you'll be married. You'll have a boyfriend. Right? But they don't know you. Right? You're the good. I remember dating this guy, performing the way I always did. Because you realize very quickly that men don't want a powerful woman. Even if you don't have the language when you're younger, you sort of realize they don't like you like that. They like you, you know, nice. She's nice. She's nice, peaceful, And so I was in this relationship with this guy. I was living in Houston at the time. And oh my God. And I remember I was nice. And he basically just had his way, just like they wanted. He had his way. And I was a nice girl. And I remember at one point, he kept doing things that I didn't like. He just kept doing things that I didn't like. And I remember one time I said something about something and he blew up. He left out the room. We were at his house. He left out the room. And you know how they do things to train you, right? This is necessary. Are we just over this? The number one reason was I didn't need him. Oh my God. Right? It was to me at the time it was small. And I remember, you know how when you're worried about how a guy is going to react to something, so you're very mindful about how you say it. So you try to say it in the most correct, thoughtful way. And then you say it and he still blows up. And it's like, oh my God, really? First of all, I hardly ever say anything anyway. And then when I finally do think about it 7 times before I speak and then speak, you still don't? Oh, fuck, right? And all of this may not be conscious, but you're reflecting. You just go, oh my God. And then that's how they train you, though, right? They make sure to react in a way that's unpleasant so keep your mouth shut. You stay here and you be what I want you to be and have that pussy ready, but you keep your mouth shut. Have the pussy wet at will. As soon as I'm ready, have the pussy ready. You know what I'm saying? All this consideration ages us. Good Lord. And then, so I hope the door closed because my voice projects, baby. And where was I going with that? Can somebody tell where I was going with that? Somebody do some reflection for me real quick. Because the point is superiority, owning that, not wanting the responsibility of power, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, where was I going with that piece right there? Anyway, so I remember I was saying you were like you're with a man who, right, you don't have the community, you're with a man who doesn't see you, doesn't want to see you, wants to keep you in with him, right? Right, he doesn't know who we really are. Thank you. We are no longer running from ourselves. Thank you very much. Right, so we can, part of the hypnotic seduction of getting with a man is because we know we can stay with him and not be who we are, and he will accept it. He will even praise it. Right? He gets to come in and be your caretaker. Like you're the protected flower for him to look after when he doesn't know that you're just hiding. He doesn't know that you're playing small because you can't. So anyway, right, nobody knows us. Nobody knows us. Thank you. Right? So, and we walk around like this, and it's so easy to do, and we're deteriorating right before people's eyes. But because we're smiling, because we're doing everything they want us to do, they don't even realize that we're deteriorating right before their eyes. Okay? Because nobody just gets sick like that. Nobody just wakes up. You gradually become sick. So no one sees you, but it was connected to something else. Good God. And look, I'm divorced. So I think I want to play with a troll to make a point. Maybe that'll. So I'm on YouTube, and I may do some back and forth with this person if I feel like it. Is that the white James? Because there was another James who was here. Is this the white James? Do you have a man, James? Look, do you have a man, James? So the responsibility, okay? Can I handle it? Can I maintain it? Um, what's going to happen? How will I be judged? How will I make money? What am I going to do? So let me tell you, first of all, it's very difficult on the committed path of coming into your full power. Let me just go ahead and wash all the milk up off everybody's ear and clear out. It's difficult. It's difficult. Let's go there, okay? And I would present to you your life as it is right now. Is it difficult? Your inner state, like maybe outside you have all the material. In your inner world, what's your inner world like? What's your inner world like? Assuming you're running from your power. Assuming you're running. So I need to do something. So what did I do before? Because my light is going to go out here in a minute. And I moved around like this so that I could plug up the phone. Let's see what I'm going to do. So at some point the light is going to go out. Just know that. I'm not going to move this thing around because it's just so many cords and things going on right here. So at some point the light is going to go out. Just know that, okay? I have one of these TikTok lights right now that's hoping to bright up things right now. So somebody said chaos. Two people said chaos. Disconnected, very detached from self also. When I was running, there was a kind of purposelessness about me. And I knew I was running. Like, how many of you are running and you know that you're running? That was me once upon a time. I was running and I knew I was running. Ambivalence. You're ambivalent, Vanessa? Is that what you're saying? And when you're in that state, it's just decline. That's all it is. It's just decline. That's what it was like for me. It was just decline. Like I said, I broke out right here. It was a kind of delirium. I was creating fights with literally in Bali, like creating fights. It was horrible. It's fucking horrible. And I knew I was running. I knew I was hiding. And I didn't have anybody to talk to. Nobody saw me. Like anytime I would come out even a bit with people, it was like people didn't know how to be with me. Okay? Men, women, my mom, nobody knew how to be with me. And so there's that. There's the difficulty of that. Of nobody sees you, you're like deteriorating, all that. So that's difficult, yes or no? That's very difficult. Wouldn't you rather it be difficult as you're working toward your full power? Because it's going to be difficult either way. And I'm not even trying to convince you. I just want to know, I want you to know what it's like on this side. For those of you who are avoiding step into your superior state and your full power. It's going to be difficult either way. So you're either going to be in the difficulty of deteriorating, of there's going to be restlessness, there's going to be resentfulness. You're never going to be well, like actually well. You're never going to be well for the rest of your life. You're never going to feel fulfilled for the rest of your life. Like, you're going to do things that are like, oh, that was fun. Like, you're going to do, right? You're going to travel somewhere. You're going to, I don't know, have some sex, eat a delicious meal. You're going to do all those things, but it's like the thing that haunts you. It's never, like, for example, in 2011, when I first started creating content, there were like literally no Black women around creating content. None. And I wanted to create content. And I went to Target, I bought a camera and a tripod, came home, took everything out the box and froze. And then I put everything back in the box, put it in the closet, and it just sat in the closet and haunted me for 2 months. Now, every day I looked like I was just chugging right along, going to, get coffee, living my life. But it was haunting. It was just, nothing was ever really satiating. I was grabbing at a bunch of shit to try to fill up the space that only the real thing can fill. So I'm telling you, this is what is, for those of you who this is actually for, when I talk about that delineation of women, this is what it's going to be like for you until you say yes to your full power. Because then over here in your full power, it's difficult for sure. And it's a fulfillment that nobody could ever give you. It's a connection with yourself that no money, no man, no travel, no badass dress, no wonderful look, no job, no applause, no attention, no nothing could ever give you. And that's something you have to experience for yourself. But the level of deep satisfaction, the level of, you don't even need motivation. See, when you're over here on this side, you need shit outside of you to motivate you. You need a hit. You need, you know what I mean? You just need all of this stuff to sort of get you going. When you over here on this path, you're so deeply entrenched in the inner workings of you, the depths of you, the dark of you, that you have access to a full portal of vast power that you could never even begin to touch on this side of difficulty. And this vast portal of power powers you in such a way, it even powers your lowness. When I say lowness, I mean the part of you that needs to go into the dark to get the gold. Over here, you just sort of like reading motivational books, You're looking at content, you're trying to get it, you're grabbing at all these things to sort of give you something, to inspire you, to move you, to encourage you, to give you knowledge. You grab at things over here. On this side, you're so connected to because you've made the decision. It's a very clear decision. It's not something you get motivated into. It's a very personal experience. Then you come over here and you're powered to do all the things that you can never find the power to do over here. Because over here, you're looking for things external to you. And you're looking for surface level power. Over here, you begin to access vast power. This is also why, if you are this woman I'm talking about, you need to be inside my woman community. Simple as that. You need to be inside my woman community. Okay. You begin to come into my woman community by going to the link in my bio. And listen, if it's not for you, don't come. Okay. You got to be honest with yourself. If you know this is for you and you know that community, the right community, is life or death for you, go to the link in my bio and get on the wait list for the Womanhood initiation. They begin week after next. So when you're on this side, these questions that you have about how do I maintain it, who's going to catch me when I fall, what was the other one? It was how can I maintain it? What was the other one? It was another one that was good. Oh, Vanessa, I'm just seeing your comment about I just went on a first date with a guy who was used to women supplicating and shrinking. Because most women do, so they sort of look for you to do it, and that's how they label you as good. If you can shrink the best, oh, you a wife. You wife material. Then he gonna tell everybody he got a queen. Brittany said, as soon as I began to feel my power again, my husband totally withdrew. Hmm. Can I handle it? That's it. Can I maintain it? Can I handle it? So over here, you're not even asking those questions anymore because you're so hooked into a vast power that you know how to, when the desire is truly there, because they're even on this side, there are different degrees, even on this side for you to traverse. And what happens is, depending on the level that you're at in degree, you will be ready for a particular outreach and a particular connection at this level that you may not be ready for at this level, which is fine. At this level, you're going to do what you're called to do at this level. And so anything that you need to power you, to maintain, to whatever the other word, question somebody else is, ask, you are powered in that way to have your needs met, to take whatever action is necessary, to be receptive to whatever kind of love, support, encouragement, resource, whatever will be necessary for you to continue along on this side. See, the thing about this side is it's a decision. When you make the decision, it's like you hook yourself. I don't like about being like it's like, because it's not it's like. It is. And you cannot fake the decision. You can't be like, yeah, I am, but not really in your deep mind. You can't be like, I am if. It's not like, well, I'll try my best. It's a very personal decision. It's between you and you and you. And when you make the decision and come over here, life orients, there's that light, spirit orients in that way to support you. All the hands that exist on this side, the unseen world, orient to help you in that way. And this is what makes people look like they just came out of nowhere. This is what makes people look like they're supernatural. This is what makes people look like an enigma. No, it's because they made a decision to exist on a particular plane. So as soon as you make the decision to come over into that plane, all the spiritual power on that plane comes in to support you. Most people don't make the decision to come over to that plane because they want to cling on to stability. They want to cling on to comfort. They want to cling on to a picture perfect idea of divine order. Oh my God, I'm just... So very good. Somebody asked, yeah, comfort is a big one. This Diary of a CEO, y'all familiar with Diary of CEO, the podcast? He has over 6 million subscribers now. He's a great host. He really is. He's a great interviewer. He really is. And he does have some good guests on there. But he had I don't know what this guy was on there, but he talked about that's actually what's contributing to a lot of Americans' sickness and obesity and Alzheimer's and just all that is their aggression toward comfort. They want comfort, they want conveniences, and it's making them deteriorate faster. It's making their brain deteriorate faster. It's atrophying their actual body because you can, I mean, I was in here for like 3 days almost before I even left. I had food delivered. You know, the host came. I didn't have to, you know what I mean? And it was, okay, Naima, go for a walk. Get up, Naima, go for a walk. All because I had comfort and conveniences. And he talked about this from a scientific level, that all these comforts that Americans are going after is causing them to decline. And that's why I said women who go, and even men who get with, anyway. So, all right, now to answer this question about if I am superior, how do I describe others? It's such a controversial concept for my brain to accept. So, a lot of this that you all are asking me on this side, part of my responsibility, right? We avoid the responsibility, right? Part of my responsibility is owning who I am so that I can even be available to be online like this with you all. When I'm refusing my responsibility, all of you are a nuisance to me. When I'm in rejection of my power, I'm in rejection to what I'm here for, all of you are a nuisance. Everything is which is how some of you feel. Like somebody here said at the very beginning, I dislike my power. Is that person still here? Who was like, I dislike my power, right? That's somebody who's disowning it. You know, feeling like earth is ghetto, earth is trash, I'm sick of mortals. Like all of that is somebody who is disowning their power. Okay? And at this level, I can see it as that. Okay? When you come into your power, you won't even think in the superior way. It'll just be so. And when you come over to this side, as I've already described, so it'll just be so. And what'll happen is the experience with others and the reflection from others is how you'll come to this conclusion. Now, I'm using the word superior only because I know it's a mindfuck word for a lot of y'all. It's just a way of being on an energetic level. I'm using the word superior, but what it is it's your way of being on an energetic level. A willingness to suffer in order to end suffering. This is where we're going to go now. A willingness to suffer as a means to end suffering. Now, many of you are suffering right now for nothing. You're just let me wrap up what I just said. A lot of the questions that you're asking now about how do I maintain it, etc., you will not be asking that once you make the decision to come over. Some of you need to pointlessly struggle more. So I have an idea. I'm just going to lower this. I have an idea. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Look at that. Voila! Anybody have any questions about anything I've said? Somebody says suffering is powerlessness, not when you're doing it with intention. Struggle, suffer. So here's what I mean. I don't know if I even need to go. Oh, here it is. So somebody here mentioned earlier about this is a common one right here. She said, even when I began, and she put began in capital letters. She said, even when I began to come into my power, my husband withdrew. Even when I began to come into my power, my husband withdrew. So I'm going to talk about it from this angle because it's so common. There's multiple angles to speak about this from, but I'm going to talk about it from this angle because it's so common. Exactly. That when you have a purpose, you know what the end goal is. Do you know your purpose, right? Like, why are you here? Why do you breathe every day? Why are you here? Why do you occupy a body? When you know what it is, you know the reason why you endure the way you do. You can replace suffering with endure. You know why you endure the way you do. Because my goal is X. Because my goal is X. So a very common thing amongst women who are married, whether they've been married for a while or they're out of the honeymoon phase now, or they know that the man is the thing that they can hide behind or that they can distract themselves with, or he's convenient, right? He helps her. He doesn't know that he's doing this, but he helps her to play small because he accepts her exactly as she is, especially if she does all the things that he wants her to do, right? She can give herself to that, and there's no challenge. She doesn't have to grow up, okay? And so what happens is when she's sick of that, what has happened is she's created a couple things. One, she's created lots of bonding there, okay? Whether the bond was through traditional wedding vows, children together, just build a life together. So there's lots of binding that's occurred there. Uh, and then there's all of the emotionality that she's feeling anyway. Hold on, let me go. We'll get there. All of the emotionality that she feels anyway around coming into her power. Okay. And so, wow. When she's in isolation, and being with him is a version of isolation. When she's in isolation, she's not in community, nobody sees her, etc. And she's not in her power. One, she struggles in a way that she wouldn't have to struggle if she was in a community of people who saw her. That's one. The second thing is when she doesn't have a purpose, she doesn't know why why does she want her power? Like, you just feel like you want, what's going on here? You just feel like you want to unleash? What is it? Are you just, what is it? Your life is just monotonous and you're bored and you're looking for some excitement? Like, what's really going on here? Like somebody said here, what's the end goal? Right? This is tied to so many pieces. Good God. One, this is why community is important, but also two, why are you here? And so many women have been so hiding for so long that they even need an environment to start to bring up why they're here. Like a lot of women don't even know how to answer that question. Who here can answer that question for why do you breathe? Why do you breathe? Why are you in a body? Why are you here? Like, seriously, why are you here? Anybody want to answer? Why are you here? It's major, right? Why are you here? Another responsibility that we disown is a woman who's in my community right now. She wants high frequency, like so many of us want. She wants high frequency. Excuse me. She wants to be able to manifest a lot more money. And I remember saying something to her about a kind of a dominant power. Okay. And because so many of us are thinking through a male lens, we're thinking some kind of like power over people, some kind of masculine, like it's the feminine way. So there's a kind of there's a rulership, there's an awareness, but it's so spiritual. It's golly. It's one of those things where when you walk into a room, okay, two parts. One, when you walk into a room, people know. That's part of it. The other part of it is, remember earlier I said, when you come home to yourself versus all the projecting so many people are doing, they're looking out at the world. They need to do that, she needs to do that, blaming, shaming, looking for answers out there. And when more people come in here, you will know who you are, so you know where you fit in things without being told where you fit in things. Okay? When that becomes the case, the true hierarchy, if you will, presents itself very easily. The issue is that people don't know who they are. So somebody come along and say something, you thrown all over the place, you triggered, you wouldn't be triggered if you knew who you were. When you know who you are and other people who know who they are exist in a place together, isn't it just fine? It's just fine. But how many of you know who you are and everybody around you knows who they are? Really think about that. How many of you know who you are and everybody around you knows who they are? Most people are not living in that reality. So there's conflict, there's like all this unconscious activity going on. So this person who was like, if I'm superior, then what's other people? When you know who you are and you identify, you can see other people more clearly when you know who you are. That's why I say it's not about other people. It's not about Trump. It's not about the government. It's not about black men. It's not about racism. It's not about what's happening with this school. It's not about what laws. It's not about. It's about you. Who are you? When you know who you are, you can identify where everything else belongs or doesn't belong in your life. All this being triggered all over the damn place. See, all this shadow behavior all over the place, all this unconscious stuff going on. Somebody said, I think many women get stuck on thinking their purpose is their hobby. I want to reiterate for those of you who are new here, this conversation is not for most women. This here is not for average, everyday black women who just want a nice life and kids and a husband and a family. You know, a nice life. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that's not who this channel is for. This channel is for energetically large beings. You were born large. You were born a bright light. You've always been different. You were born a black sheep. You're in this world and not of it. You're part of the select group. You're not an average woman. Average women need not apply. There's nothing wrong with being an average woman. Know who you are. You see why knowing who you are is so important? Know who you are. When you know who you are, you know what I'm talking about. let it charge a little bit, I guess. To show others who are disenfranchised what's possible for them. Cool. For those who do not have a standard, good. Yep, that's true. It's rare. It's possible to be superior. Superior in this context, I mean, I use that word because I know it's a bit of a mind fuck, but I'll reiterate in case you weren't here when I said it earlier. You're vibrating at a level that others are not. First of all, when you know who you are, that's automatically going to have you vibrate higher when you know who you are. First, just start there. When you know who you are truly. And you don't really know who you are until you traverse all the difficulties of the human experience. I don't say all, but many of the difficulties of the human experience. And which is very unlikely to happen if you're a married person, because you're busy being married in a relationship with this one person. So you will cut yourself off from interactions with other people, which means you got to have all your experiences with that one person. And anybody else who could come into your circumference to introduce you to many other different versions of yourself, you'll be cut off from them because you are faithful in your marriage. That's why I say traditional marriage neuters people. But some people want to be neutered. It's comfortable, it's stable. So I know when I say superiority, people automatically think inferior. So they think in dual. Really, I just mean a frequency that's elevated. And you start by knowing who you are, and then the rest works itself out depending on who you are. Okay. And the best thing is to just be honest, no matter how much it hurts. That's the best thing you can do is be honest. Silence and boundaries are my weapon, somebody said. Whew. Any questions? You've noticed what, Shandy? So who feels called to my woman community and have put themselves on the wait list for the womanhood initiation? You put yourself on the wait list for the womanhood initiation by going to the link in my bio and clicking womanhood initiation. If you're on YouTube, you go to the description. The link is there to put yourself on the wait list. We're starting the initiations week after next. I'm going to end YouTube now.